this 6-week unit, we will learn how our nation, the United States of America, came to be. By the end of the unit, there are 13 objectives that students will be able to do. The unit also covers 15 substandards, which are covered under 5 of the History Social Studies content standards for the California Public School. This unit also focuses on the newly adopted Common Core State Standards in English Language Arts, including many standards in literature, informational text, and foundational skills. It covers the English Language Arts Common Standards in writing, speaking, listening, and language as well. Lastly, the unit covers 6 International Society for Technology in Education standards, including creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration, research and information fluency, critical thinking, problem solving and decision making, and digital citizenship. These standards will be covered through engaging interactive activities, a variety of different resources, and applying the use of technology in each individual activity. This technology is integrated into Bloom's taxonomy, which was created by educational psychologist Dr. Benjamin Bloom in order to promote higher forms of thinking in education, such as analyzing, evaluating, and creating, rather than just simply remembering and reciting back facts. Additionally, within the unit, I have incorporated Dr. Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. According to Dr. Gardner, individuals have 9 different intelligences that reflect the way that we as humans interact within the world. Each of us possess some sort of unique combination of all 9 intelligences. However, within this unit plan, we are focusing on only 8 of the intelligences, including verbal, logical, musical, kinesthetic, visual, naturalist, interpersonal, intrapersonal. Although each multiple intelligence is not addressed in each activity, each multiple intelligence will be addressed multiple times throughout the 6 weeks. During this unit, students will complete 33 activities. Each activity integrates technology, Bloom's taxonomy, and multiple intelligences in order to reach each student and meet the lesson's objectives and standards. I have chosen to address 5 activities further, the first one being broadsides and podcasts. After reading and watching related videos, students will create a broadside for either the Patriots, Loyalists, or Neutralists. They must create a slogan, draw an illustration, and list at least 3 reasons why the colonists should come to their side. Afterwards, students will work in groups of the same values to create 60-second podcasts, being a speech, song, rap, or poem, convincing others to come to your side. Students will either use GarageBand or Audacity to complete this. The broadsides will be scanned and posted on the classroom blog along with the podcasts. The multiple intelligences that are addressed in this activity are interpersonal, intrapersonal, kinesthetic, logical, musical, verbal, and visual. The second activity is the Boston Massacre debate. Students will watch Discovery Education's The Story Behind the Boston Massacre. Afterwards, students will view the 2 pictures of opposing viewpoints of the Boston Massacre events and will place stick-it notes of their thoughts on each picture. They will then choose a side and pair up with a student of opposing viewpoints in order to create a talking news debate.
Your men shot and killed 5 of our men.
This meets multiple intelligences such as intrapersonal, interpersonal, kinesthetic, logical, verbal, and visual. Third, students will complete the Boston Tea Party web quest. Over the next week, students will be working in groups of 5 in order to complete the Boston Tea Party web quest. Each student will be responsible for creating 1 article for the front page of their group's Boston Gazette. As a group, they must also create a 2 to 5 minute presentation demonstrating their understanding of the Boston Tea Party. After they have completed their Boston Gazette, they are to create their presentation and present both their newspaper and the presentation to the class. This activity addresses multiple intelligence such as interpersonal, intrapersonal, kinesthetic, logical, musical, naturalist, verbal, and visual. The fourth activity is Whose Ride Was It Anyway? Paul Revere or William Doss? As we read The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, students will use historical and current maps from Google Maps in order to trace the historical events of each rider. Students must point out geographical features such as the Boston Harbor, Back Bay near Charles River, the Mystic River, and various towns mentioned. Students will compare and contrast the two narrative poems of her using Rewrites Thinks Venn diagram. For homework, students will blog about at least 4 figurative language quotes from the story. The multiple intelligences that are addressed are interpersonal, intrapersonal, kinesthetic, logical, musical, naturalist, verbal, and visual. Lastly, students will complete the American Revolutionary War essay/project. Students each will choose a famous person from the Revolutionary War era, such as Benjamin Franklin. They will have to research their person using any reading sources that we have available, as well as the classroom notes and internet. They must create an expository essay. In order to complete this, students must use Word or Google Docs. After they are done, students must use their essay in order to create a Wordle document, which they will turn in with their essay in 2 weeks. Students also must create a Facebook page for their individual. They must edit the profile and include at least 4 facts about their given person. They also must add at least 4 friends. Additionally, they must add 5 posts, one of which has to be a video. The last thing that they need to do is ensure that they include 2 comments on their posts. This assignment meets multiple intelligences: intrapersonal, kinesthetic, logical, musical, naturalist, and visual. The big takeaway. Intelligences work together in unique ways, almost like a chandelier, with each bulb burning differently in order to create a unique glow. By deepening my knowledge of the 8 multiple intelligences, I have started to view the world differently. Every student is unique and colorful in his or her own way. By identifying each student's interests, talents, and gifts that God has given them, I will be able to adapt learning to meet their needs, creating personalized and diversified instructional experiences for each student. As a result, students will become more self-motivated and accountable for their learning. When teaching through multiple intelligences and Bloom's taxonomy, the classroom acts as a real-world learning environment. Students will learn through exploring these life experiences in a child-centered learning environment, where students become more active and involved learners. This learning applies across the curriculum and creates thematic units. It is my job to not be afraid to step outside the box and become more responsive to adapting my teaching to meet the needs of the learners. In stepping outside the box, I must be ready for failure, which is when the opportunity to learn really takes place. This is a time to reflect and analyze on what happened, what went well, what did not go so well, how can it be fixed, and then come up with some new strategies for next time. I have always said that I have a love for being a lifelong learner. I have learned that this is truer today than it has ever been before. Ongoing professional development is essential in order to stay up to date on new research, educational trends, and emerging technology, which is quickly evolving. I must keep myself informed in order to keep up with the practices and be a high-quality, effective teacher. The big idea. Albert Einstein once said, "Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." As a teacher, it is my job to teach how students learn according to their multiple intelligences, so every student can demonstrate the genius in them.